All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Relentlessly Becoming Podcast. Today's episode, I'm going to jump right into it, is one that is extremely special and sacred. I've been marinating on it since last season. A couple of different people have asked for this topic, and it's one that I honor and take extremely serious. And so today we are going to be getting down to the nitty-gritty of what does grief look like? Experiencing loss, processing loss, coping with it, and then going through the journey of helping others get through their grief journey while we're still processing our own. And so I don't want to take up any extra time. I'm excited to share space and time with these amazing individuals that I have here on the platform today. And I cannot wait to grow smarter and to heal more with all of you. I'll see you soon. Opportunity, emotion, grit, relentlessness. Cling to the sound of my voice and understand that what you want wants you. What you need needs you. And you are relentlessly becoming relentlessly better. Welcome to the Relentlessly Becoming Podcast. Let's go. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. But first, we have a very special sponsor for today's episode. Today's episode is sponsored by 80 West Candles. This is a very unique and special, amazingly scented candle company owned by Justin Clark Bradford here of Dallas, Texas. And he sent us over some candles for me and my guests on today, and I am excited. I currently have a couple of the candles in my home, and he has a line of fragrances as well as room scents and other things like that. And so there will be a link in the box for you all to go and get you some candles, and also a special 10% off code for everybody who watches this episode and goes and orders candles from 80 West. So thank you to Justin for sponsoring today's episode. We appreciate you. All right. So without further ado, we are here to have some good conversations today, and I have some amazing guests with me on today. I have two of the baddest women that I grew up watching. I am privileged to be from Smoketown, Mississippi, and to have been brought up to watch these women from them being teenagers, and I was a little boy admiring their beauty, to them being full-fledged grown women, and I get to have grown people conversation with them. I'm excited to have Vika and Viveka and Dorian on my couch today, sharing this topic. And of course, no stranger to the camera, my brother, one of the 4 Dallas Duns. My brother Trevor is here. So thank y'all so much for joining me on today.
Welcome for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're going to jump right in, and I'm just going to allow you all to tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, and what kind of made you. And so, as I said earlier, Vika, D, and I are all from the big city of Smoketown, Shelby, Mississippi. A small city, but one that I am so glad that I grew up in, because as we share a little bit more, I'll share a little bit more about my story of why I appreciate my town. And then Trey is from 40 minutes away from us in Greenville. And so, we've become accustomed, and I've known these ladies since I was born, and Trey for a long while. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start. Again, from Greenville, Mississippi. The Delta is what everyone knows it as. I started out with like the traditional lifestyle, 2-parent household, both grandparents on both sides, just living the luxury life of like having all the love, all the support, and everything along the way of every journey that I've ever stepped foot on. Never had a parent, grandparent, anyone deny me or tell me no for anything. So that's just me. They kind of instilled in me the hard work, however, and like the dedication that it takes to get to a certain point of anything that you ever want to receive. I kind of built off love, honesty, loyalty, and just like support overall.
And shout out to Mama Trina and Papa Lynn. We do not appreciate y'all not telling him no, though, because he does not take no well still as an adult. Even with his friend, like, he don't take no well, but we appreciate what y'all did pour into him. So shout out to Mama Trina and Papa Lynn. We thank y'all.
Okay, my name is Dorian. I'm from Shelby, Mississippi, what we call Smoketown, along with these two. I'm actually a cousin of Ray's.
Yes.
I grew up with my mother. My parents actually were married. I was born in Clarksville, Mississippi. They separated, and then we moved to Shelby when I was about, I had to be like 2 or 3 because I have no memories of Clarksville, but I just know that's where I was born. And because it was just me and my mom and my grandfather, because my grandmother died when I was very young and I lost an aunt. So I experienced a lot of loss at that age. So when they say it takes a village, that was really my reality because, my friends' mothers, I was spending the night at their house. They would spend the night at our house, somebody across the street. You couldn't do anything wrong because, the neighborhood was really parenting you. And I think that made me growing up in that small town because everybody was family.
Yep.
Everybody was family.
Yep. And I think that's the thing one of the things that I value the most about our neighborhood. We experience loving on each other. Like, it's the typical neighborhood. There's always the highs and the lows. But I think for me, we just experience in our town a different type of love and connectivity with each other that really gets you through difficult times. Like, when we experience highs, we experience highs. But when we experience certain losses, it's almost as if the whole town feels those. And we all, grieve as a community, whether it's matriarchs or people who are young. It's just everybody's connected to somebody in some type of way. And I think that is one of the things that makes the stock of Shelby so strong. And we don't often highlight that, but it's something that I value in my adulthood about being from Shelby and that being my neighborhood. Yeah.
Awesome.
V?
Hey, I'm Vika. Vika is short for Vivikia. I was raised in a household with my mother and I. My sister is approximately 11 years older than myself, so I was raised as a only child in a sense, although I have an older sibling. In addition to that, my grandmother and uncles played a very important role in my upbringing. So they were the masculine role models in my life. And I just grew up knowing family. They supported one another. I know my mother was an asset to my uncle, my grandmother, and everyone around in their various roles. So I just picked up on, you help your people. Mm-hmm. You are there for your family. Family is everything. And I'm actually the baby of the home house to the family. And to witness everyone grow up, hear of the stories that were before me, and for them to come back home, it's a difference being the baby of the home house. But yeah, that's my upbringing, and I'm grateful for it. Shout out to Shelby, Mississippi.
Shout out
did
to
an amazing
The
job.
Delta, Mississippi Delta.
Mississippi Delta. Yes.
It's a special place.
It
It's a
is
special
definitely a
place.
special place.
People
It's
know one
always
of a
home, I
kind.
promise.
I say it's the melting pot of beauty.
It is.
Yes.
It is. We have a good time. We have a good time in the Delta. When I tell you, when we went down to Trey's house, that was my first time really being in Greenville. Like, we would go to Roller and stuff like that, but like just hanging out in the city, staying the weekend with his mom, it was such a good time. It's just like, I'm home. I'm not in Shelby. I'm 40 minutes away. But this is literally the same thing as my house. This is the same thing that goes on in my town, how people get together and shuck and jive and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's such a good time, and I love it. And so all of us have different experiences of loss, which is how we got to come together and have this sacred conversation. And so take us through a story of loss and kind of what that time looked like for each of you.
When I think about loss, I always go, probably my first thought is my mother, and my second thought would be my cousin Maisha, which is your sister. And I experienced 2 very different times when I lost them. When my mother was, both were like, why? When my mom was like, God, and you don't question God, but I'm just being transparent here. I remember sitting at her funeral looking at her casket. I was sitting between my father was on my left side and my then boyfriend was on my right. And I was just like, why? You know, like I feel like this is all I have. Even though I had a lot of other people in my life that were loving, you know, but I couldn't understand it. You know, I'm 19, freshman year of college, haven't even finished my first year of college, you know, and I just couldn't understand it. So I think I was in denial for so long. And then with Maisha, it's like that broke my heart all over again, because I remember she was at a game cheering, and then she went to the hospital the next day, and it's like she never left the hospital. You know, she did come home, but those were times like trying to process that, but still trying to, you know, be productive in life. And like I had to finish school, and with Maisha, I was working at the time because I graduated from college when she passed. Just trying to like deal with life, and then I realized, you know, I'm suppressing things and not sitting in it, and maybe something like a familiar scent in Walmart, somebody, and you might cry, or my mom liked Pepsi, so sometimes when I miss her, I drink a Pepsi. You know, it's just the stage of like trying to figure out what do you do and how do you deal with it and still grow and make them proud.
Yeah. My sister was definitely my bestie. Let's start there. Bossy. And loved to tell me what to do. One of the only people that could run me. And I still, so for me, two significant losses would probably be my sister. That was my first experience of a major loss. And then my grandmother. And so much like you, I remember the night my sister went to the hospital. And the significance of that night was we went to a game, and I would follow her everywhere. Her and her friends, Adriana, Dimples, Johnny, all of them. I would always be in behind them, because if my sister went, that mean my daddy would say I could go. So I must say Maisha is there. And after the game, we actually went to a dance at Elvis. And we left the dance at Elvis, and we stayed on two opposite ends of town. We walked to Double Quick together, and she went in the store, and I'll never forget, she bought a Sprite, and she brought some kind of candy, and I didn't go in the store with her. And she told me, come in, I'm going to buy you something. I was standing out there talking to my friends. I'm like, go ahead. And so she comes out of the store with her stuff, and naturally, as a little brother, I beg. I'm like, oh my God, can I have some of that Sprite? She's like, no, I'm not feeling well. So I'm not going to give you any, because I don't feel good, and I don't want you to get sick. Naturally, a sister protecting us, like she would get on to us, but she was very protective. And she was like, I told you to come in the store so I could buy you one. Now you're not going to have one because I'm not going back in the store. So I'm like getting upset. I'm like, whatever. And then the next day, they tell us that they took her to the hospital and she wasn't feeling well. And that was a journey of supporting her while she went through her experience. And I actually remember a guy who just passed last week from Shelby. Actually, he was 29. They came to the school to do the Make-A-Wish Foundation for him. Monte Allen. And I wrote them a letter and told them that my sister was sick. And they did it for her.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep. They came to the apartment. They brought her all type of stuff.
Wasn't well enough to go to Disney World.
And I was out of town the weekend they did it. But when they came and did it for him, I wrote them a letter and I mailed it off. And I told them that my sister was going through childhood cancer. And they came and did it for her. And I think experiencing that loss, I at an early age learned how to process a little bit more because we walked through that journey. My parents had kind of prepared us because my mom is very spiritual. She had kind of prepared us, for the possibilities of what could be towards the end goal. And so we kind of wrapped our mind around it. It was still traumatic because my sibling and I are very close. And so me, Maisha, and Kia were like three peas in a pod. We were the three older siblings. The first half, we did everything together. We talked about everything together. And so I think Kia and I really experienced a heartbreak. Boogie and Raylan didn't really understand because they were so young, but they knew they lost their sister. But Kia and I kind of really took it hard because we found out at school, actually. Yeah, we were at school. And of course, Maisha's a year ahead of me. I'm a year ahead of Kia. So one of her classmates found out and came and asked us how we were. And yeah, so that was that. And I remember being at her funeral, just thinking dang, my sister has passed. But it was I knew she had been going through this for a while and she was kind of tired. And, she needed to be released, even at a young age. But then my grandmother passing was traumatic because it was unexpected. We literally went, like I can remember the night she passed too. We were at her house eating tacos, and I had no taco sauce. That's the only reason I went home too, because I didn't have taco sauce. So I packed my food up and I went home, but we were like all over there. All of her kids were there except my uncle who lives here. We were laughing and talking. They were doing each other's hair. And then the next morning, we found out she passed away sporadically. And that was a little bit tougher to process for me because it was no expectation that this is coming. And so I don't know how to wrap my mind around how this could possibly happen. And so I think that oftentimes when we experience loss, we can feel, each loss feels different for everybody, but it definitely feels different for you as an individual when you kind of go through a process where you maybe expect, the hurt is still there, but the expectation kind of soothes the hurt as opposed to somebody dying sporadically or passing over sporadically. So, yeah. Pass it to one of you guys.
So 3 different occurrences come to mind when I think about grief. The first one is a friend, and it's a childhood lifelong friend. She still speaks to me even on the other side. That's Shonda. And when she passed, it was unexpected. She passed on a Wednesday. I remember it vividly. I spoke with her that Monday. I actually talked to her that Sunday and Monday. And to get a phone call when I was at work that she passed, I was like, no, hold on a second. Let me call you right back. And then to take the steps to receive the confirmation that my friend, my childhood friend.
And she was amazing.
My childhood friend just passed away. The mother of my goddaughter. Oh, wow. So losing a friend first. And then I actually lost 2 friends. Kelly.
Yeah.
All right. That's my godson's mother. Right. So losing 2 friends, and there was a significant amount of time in between their passings. And I remember asking God, I said, hey, God, this is rough for me. Do me a favor. I know I can't ask you not to lose any more friends, but if I have to lose any more friends, please give me enough time to bear with this one.
Yeah.
I was granted that. I honestly was granted that because Kelly passed after Shonda. So those 2 friends, losing them, that was different. That was definitely different because I honestly think about growing old with my friends.
Yeah.
I see us in the rocking chairs and things of that nature. And then the next passing that was significant was my grandmother. I was so heavily involved with her because as I spoke about my upbringing, my grandmother was a very influential piece in my life, who I am today, the way I carry myself, my business adventures, things like that. And when she passed away, it was sudden, but she was seasoned. She was 91 when she passed. So as time, passed along in life, I kind of started to prepare myself for that. I did. However, you never really can prepare yourself for what that's going to be like. So just having those 3 passings, and I can actually think of one more. And this is a part of my upbringing as well, the absence of a father. My dad passed away, and I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't know him as a person. I heard stories. I knew who he was. I knew his name, but we didn't have that relationship. And to grieve a person that you don't know, that you long to know, and you will never receive that opportunity has been something that I've learned to deal with still to this day. And so those are like the significance of grief with me. And they're all different. I process them all differently. Yeah.
And can we take a moment to honor how grief isn't just processing people who have passed on? We grieve people who are still alive, having to cut them out of our lives.
Yes.
We grieve lost opportunities or opportunities that don't come. And so it looks different, and the process of going through those stages is different in each facet as well. And both of your moms I love. Let's start there. And they love me.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Yes,
and
she does.
They love me.
They do.
Okay. And your grandmother, I remember seeing her. That's why I love being around, well, being from a small town. Like, I remember seeing your grandma riding her BMW, like glamorous. She'd be in the store, see Miss Ruby with her earrings and her lipstick on. She's looking like beauty. Like, this is Miss Ruby. Like, we know. And then your mama come through their school, and it's like the Red Sea part. Because we know, get in line or she gonna get you in line. She was my teacher, and like, she separated so well because during the day, she was my second grade teacher. During the day, this ain't no family. You a student. You better act right, or you gonna get it worse, because you know I'm gonna see you when we leave school. Or you gonna be at my house Friday night after a game with your auntie because they cheer with Dorian and hang out with Dorian. So you know you better act right. Or I'm gonna call your grandma down the hall and I'm gonna get you, and then your grandma gonna get you. You know, so things like that just really, come to my mind, and I remember, and that's one of the joys of me being a little boy growing up there. Again, I honor my hometown, but brother.
I'll say that my most significant, well, all of mine were unexpected, I would say. My deaths, when I started experiencing them later in life, of course, it started back in 2023 with my grandfather. And it was literally like maybe, 8 days after my birthday. I had just talked to the man, told me happy birthday, everything. And I get a phone call. Of course, I'm out Sunday Fun Day in Dallas with my friends, partying, having the time of my life. And get a phone call, and it's just like, hey, Grandpa's gone, and I'm taking, like, I don't know. I don't even know my next steps. I'm like, do I stay here? Do I go home? Do I, what do I do? Freak out or what? Following my grandpa, September of 23 was my grandma, his wife. And that was another unexpected. Of course, like, we've been going through these different highs and lows, I would say, with her. But at the same time, you don't expect to just get the phone call that, hey, today's the day she's gone. So again, that happened in 23. And then my most traumatic was my father. It'll be a year, my first full year without my dad next Sunday. And I'm still processing it. I wake up every day and it's like day one all over again. It's like receiving that phone call of, hey, Dad's gone, like, your dad's gone. Granted, I'm his only child. I don't have siblings to call on. Like, it's me and my mom now. Like, calling back and forth, hey, what's going on? Of course, she has the support of her siblings, her mom, her dad at the time. And I felt like I was too far away to help her with any type of stress or any type of burdens that was on her shoulders. So, of course, having my dad gone, having to drive 6 hours that same day to get home to even support anyone and even have any. Well, I had support here. I won't say I didn't have support here. Everyone dropped everything again. But it's different when you have that distance between you. So my dad, again, September of 2024. And then literally at my dad's funeral, I look at my grandpa, my mom's dad, and I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, you're all I got. Like, you're next up in line. And then to get a call again 4 days after my birthday in January of 2025, it's him, like, unexpectedly. Literally just got back from a trip to Atlanta with my aunt, just having fun. He comes home, he laughing, talking with the family, coughs, and is gone. Like, literally has a cough and is gone. So, I mean, I don't think I ever had time to prepare for any of their deaths. And I don't think I could ever wrap my mind around the fact that they are, like, just gone without warning. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, each day I wake up and I'm like, I'm here. I still have this person, that person, and this person. Like, my mom is my backbone. My grandma, her mom, is my backbone. I will do anything. I will go to the end of the world for them, like my entire family. And I just thank God for that support and for them being so strong as women who have dated these men their whole life, my grandpa and my dad. And to see them be so strong each day, it like encourages me to just keep going. So that's how I process it. Just, you have to keep going.
Yeah. And even, I remember, of course, we were there supporting you through this ordeal and having to witness you in this different capacity, because in our friend group of 4, I'm the emotional one. Dre is very solo, like goes out, does his own thing, pool parties, and you are kind of our foundation of get up, get over it, let's move. And for that dynamic to shift and to see you fragile was almost like a state of emergency for us, to have to step into a place to make sure that we lock arms and support you in a way that we've maybe never supported anybody before. And I think I remember communicating to Dre and Pooh just how important that would be for us to not only be by your side, but to continuously have you on our minds. Mm-hmm. And I think one of our individual special moments, I think, was your dad's service. And after the service, you and I just like embraced and had that. And it was just, I think that took our brotherhood to another level. Mm-hmm. Because we both were just so emotional and just connected how we had never connected before. And I think that it, especially with you being my first friend to ever lose a parent, I've never had a friend to lose a parent. So stepping in and having to support you in that way was very special to me. And I still take that very, very serious in being able to be there for you.
I will say that y'all have shown up since like the day, the hour, because like I said, the last time I was like, y'all were the first group of people I called outside of speaking to my mom. And just the way y'all embrace the situation as if it were y'all experiencing that significant loss, it just made me feel like so, I don't know, whole, like loved and everything. And to see y'all go through with anything y'all had to do to be there for me in that moment. And even up until now, like any holiday, Father's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, I feel like y'all are reaching out. Hey, are you good? You okay? Y'all threw a whole Father's Day celebration, cake, balloons, came over, barbecue. We did pool. Like it was like just so, it felt good. And it's never been a moment where I had to question whether anything was truly genuine or just felt like, oh, he lost his dad, I had to. It's literally love, it's loyalty, it's friendship, and that's what I take pride in from y'all and from you specifically, because you're always like the one to spearhead, hey, y'all, let's put this in motion, let's get this done. And like you said, that moment at that funeral, at my dad's burial, I don't remember much of nothing. I remember like them ending, saying their prayers and everything. And my first instinct was to, hey, get out of there, because I hate the sound of a casket being lowered. So I'm like, hey, get out of there. And all I know is I get to the car, the door's locked, and I turn around and you're there. And like, you're the first person I just grabbed. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do it no more. Like, I can't hold up no more. I'm done. Mm-hmm. I did all I could. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, support systems are extremely important when dealing with these ordeals and having to navigate these emotions. And I'm grateful that I get to be your friend and get to be there for you. And so for y'all, how do you think you've processed the stages of grief? Did you sit in one longer than the other? And of course, it's a never-ending process. So it's not I processed it, I'm done, I'm over it. But like, what does that experience of going through those emotions look like for each of you?
I was in denial for a very long time. And I remember, my mother passed in my arms. I was sitting in the room looking at Maisha in her hospital bed when she passed. When they unplugged the machine and it's like one last breath. Like, so I was there when they passed. It wasn't a question. Nobody had to come tell me. I knew, but I was going through the motions. Like, I remember picking out, a casket for my mom and going through different things like insurance, just handling the business. And I was going through the motions, but I wasn't processing it. And I remember one day I was driving and Novella was on the passenger side, which is my sister. And it was, she had passed, but it was before the funeral. I was driving down the street, Shonda lived on, Shonda Marty grandma. You know, what street is that? Douglas. And for some reason, when I got close to where Miss Bronner stayed, it's like I just let go of the steering wheel. And Novella, we ended up turning, so we was right by the Knight's house. And she was like, and I didn't know what happened. That's when I realized, like, you know, you gotta sit in it. But I didn't. After the funeral, I went right back to school at Valley, and I got really sick. And not really sick, but I was having these bad anxiety attacks, but I didn't know what was going on. So I would take like 5 footsteps, but I would be breathing like I had ran 5 miles. And I wasn't saying anything. And I remember telling my friend Loretta, I'm like, something's not right. So they ended up calling the ambulance, and I went to the hospital, and they would just give me breathing treatment. So I went through going to the hospital to get breathing treatments off and on. Sometimes we even tell people, like, when I started doing it, I'm like, okay, I know what's wrong. I need to try to sit in it, but you don't know how to do it because it feels so overwhelming, and it feels like if I get in it, I'm not going to get out of it. So I think I've mastered like suppressing things, and I know that's not good. Don't do that. But I just stay busy. Yep. And I remember when I lived in Memphis once, one of my friends told me, she said, you know, every day when you get off work, you go to the store, you go something. She said, by the time you get home, it's time to take a bath and go to bed. And I didn't even realize that I had developed this pattern my whole life. I stayed busy. And I'm like, I've probably been doing this since I was 19. Mm-hmm. And I think even now I work really, really late. Like I'm always doing something because I haven't, and so I still haven't sat still and just, so I'm
let it marinate.
Okay, I'm going to therapy.
Which helps.
It definitely does help. It definitely does help. As you stated, the processes of grief, they cycle. And I feel like certain stages possibly dwelled a little bit longer, depending on who it was. When I think about my dad, that one is the weirdest form of grief I've been through. Everyone else, of course, it's hard, it's different, but to not know someone. And I was in denial that I was grieving him. Like, truly, sometimes I would flash back and I would to the front row, seeing him laying in the casket. And I was like, well, you didn't know him. So what are you grieving over? And then really accepting you're grieving the long for a relationship that you will never receive, darling. Yes, you are grieving. And that alone was like a slap in the face. Like, oh, you're not as tough as you think you are. You thought you were good. You thought that, oh, this is nothing. He hasn't been around. Well, Vika, the fact is he's not going to ever be able to come around now. So that one is still interesting to this day. It's still interesting. Yeah.
Again, like y'all said, never ending cycle. I feel like I haven't had the chance to fully process it. Again, my death started in 2023 and like it's like they rolled. Like they just kept going. And I thought that when I lost my dad, that it was over. And I turned around at the beginning of this year because y'all, at the beginning of the year, I went into the year like, I can't take another loss. Like, I don't know who you're going to say. I can't take another loss. And then my grandpa, it's just like, you never process it. You never get a moment. Well, I've never gotten a moment to take it all in. I feel like each day I wake up, I'm like, hey, I'm reminded of it by the little things. We have a group chat with my grandpa, with my dad. We have group chats, and like it's like they still talk to them, and they're like, it's kind of weird, but it's also a reminder that they are present. They're just not here with you physically.
Physically, yes.
And so I haven't processed it. I'm not gonna put a date on when I can just end the thoughts that they are still here, because I'm constantly reminded of my dad. Like, we have things that belong to my dad that I know my mom can't do anything with. She sits at home with 5 cars in the yard and it's just her. I'm like, girl, get rid of something. And I feel like it's pieces of them that always remind me to the point where I don't want to forget them, but I would love to start the process of like, hey, they're not coming back. Like, they're gone forever. So, no, I haven't processed it. I don't know when it'll start processing. I live in the moment, and I've always been that person to live in the moment. Like y'all said, I'm the one who, hey, pick up, shake it off, let's go. We got this place to go. Like,
I think for me, I accept the physical gone, but I keep the spirit presence, and that kind of helps me. With my sister, like I said, it was a little bit easier for me. I took it hard, but it was a little bit easier because I kind of had prepared myself. And when it comes to her, I kind of moved through the stages a little bit better. And it's always something stupid that she said in my head that rings that I still hold true with the other siblings, like mean things that she would say to me that I would not say on camera, or something she would say. Like, I remember one time she told Kia, be pretty, but don't be stupid. You know, like, use your head, sister. And I still tell Kia, like, use your head, sister. Like, you got to use your head. She'd be like, you know what? You right. I should think about this in a different way. Or, you know, something she would tell Boogie about jumping around the room, like, sit down before I smack you, or something like that, you know? And so I always think about something funny my sister would have said, or just hanging out and being her shadow, walking, or something like that. And then my grandma, that was a little bit harder because in transparency, going through those stages of denial, like that, it can't be real, and then anger. And I have to honor, because I'm transparent in my platform, I could not for the life of me understand why it was my grandmother. Like, all these bad people in the world, all these people who don't do right by people, all these people who mistreat people, why my grandmother? Like, was the thing that reigned constantly in my head. Like, she didn't bother people. She was kind. She was very supportive. I don't get it. It doesn't register to me. Then thinking about, is there something that I could have done? Should I have spent the night over there? Because that was the original plan. But I think that God works in mysterious ways, because had I spent the night and experienced that, I probably would have lost my mind a little bit, because I already don't do well with death and funerals. I'm extremely emotionally intelligent, so I feel everything times 1,000. And so not having taco sauce could have been a blessing, because I was like, that's the reason I didn't stay, because she didn't have taco sauce. How do you cook tacos with no taco sauce? I couldn't understand it either, but okay. So I said, I'm going home. And when I got home, I just said, I'm going to stay here. But also remembering the fact that in both of those deaths, I grieved in 2 separate arenas. So, which is prevalent a lot of times. So with my sister, I grieved for myself and I grieved for my siblings. And so grieving for myself as an individual, our relationship, grieving for my siblings, that they will never fully get to experience the sister that I had, and that we will never get to experience her physically continuing, and thinking about all of the things that we would do. And I remember your friend Loretta read a poem named She'll Never at her funeral, and that tore me up. That poem, I will never forget that poem when she read it at my sister's funeral. And that poem tore me up.
I was talking about, I said, because she'll never turn sweet 16. I'll never teach her how to drive, go to prom.
I remember that. And after the funeral, for years, that always rained, which is why I tell my parents and things like that, every birthday I celebrate, I take them serious, because I feel like I celebrate that birthday for myself and my sister. And making it to 30, I doubled her lifespan, which is extremely special to me, because she didn't get to be here with me, but I'm going to do it because this for both of us. And then for my grandmother, grieving as an individual, because I'm her first grandchild. We did everything together, from riding to Cleveland 2-3 times a day to teaching me how to drive, to if my mama said no, she gonna say yes, and you can't tell your mama no, and thinking about how she would never see me graduate and go to college. I can't get $20 for a game no more. You 16, you think about stuff like that. And then a step above that, the hardest was grieving my mama's loss. I'm the first from my mom's womb. My mom is the first from my grandmother's womb. And if my mama cried, happy or bad, I cannot hold it in. I cry anytime my mama cried, I cry. She was on the phone crying happy tears the other day. Girl, I'm tearing up. Stop calling me. But I remember when my grandma died, my mom would sit in the window and just weep. And like there was nothing I could do. And I felt so bad because I knew that they were not only mother and daughter, they were best friends. And I remember we couldn't get her to eat anything. She wouldn't eat. She didn't want to go anywhere. And for 16 years, I had never seen my mom in a frozen state like that. And experiencing that was me putting myself on the back burner was even more tough because I look at my mom and my grandma as the strongest, not women, people that I know. The things that they've been through and experienced, and to be still moving. And now one of those is gone and the other is here cleaning the wreckage of that physical loss. And there is nothing that I can do to aid in that. And then witnessing my mom's siblings all go through their own process was just difficult, and having to sit in those stages and try to wrap my mind around this is what's happening and how are we as a family going to come together to try to be there and support each other is what I think is something that I had to look at and I'm still dealing with today in a never-ending process. And so that leads us into wondering, how do y'all cope with the losses that you've experienced? What are some things that you've done to kind of get through those?
I've taken up the gym. So I did get more into fitness. Like I'm more so worried about not my appearance, but just something to take me out of the streets. Like I got tired of being outside in the clubs, drinking, buying bottles, all this, just because I don't want to be at home or just because I need to feel like I'm like thriving or I feel like that I'm still living life. I pulled myself out of that, got into the gym. I've also gotten more into the Word of God, honestly. I lean more towards God for everything because my friends can tell you I have never been the one to be like, pray about it. I'm like, hey, come on, let's go. Let's go to brunch. Let's go do this. Let's go to dinner or something. I've never been the one to encourage you to pray about it, but hey, I've adopted that. I'm sorry. And it's just like a lot of other positive influences. My friends, the relationships I've built now and then, like everything has helped me cope and get through the stress or the burdens that death brings. Each day I'm reminded that, hey, you still have breath. You're still able to keep going. There were moments in my life when my dad left, like y'all, I was so spoiled that when my dad left, I didn't know what to do when it came to the smallest of things that you would think a 30-year-old adult would know how to do. And I've just shown and proved myself that, hey, you still can. So again, the gym, church, God, getting closer to God, my friends, and even my family, just building a better relationship with them. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think for me, coping has come with it depends on who it was, of course. Friends that have passed away, honoring them. Mm-hmm. The more I honored them, it gave me like a sense of peace. Like, okay, you can ride this wave. They're not coming back. continue to honor them in whatever way that is. Living up to what I committed to, being a godmother to their children. Still to this day, it graces my spirit that just last week when I was in Memphis, I had dinner with 2 of Shonda's kids. They're young adults now. And to laugh and tell them stories about their mom, that just warmed my heart. I told them last week, I was like, hey, every time the beat drop, to back that up. All I can see is your mama pulling up to pick me up in high school for us to spin a few blocks or whatever. And I was like, the windows are down. And then they was like, she rode with the windows down? And I was like, yeah. And Tutu was like, I ride with the windows, like the sunroof back. And Kiana always wants natural air or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, your mom was that way. And, telling them her favorite part of the song, and they were like, what? I was like, oh yeah, it was real. We had great times, but just, being honored, being able to honor them in their absence, their physical absence. That has done a lot for me. And I actually, as far as like my dad, being that one has always been so different, the way I honored that passing has been me honoring myself and accepting that, hey, these parents serve as a portal. Mm-hmm. And in order for you to be where you are, you had to come through that portal. Mm-hmm. So honor him for being, giving you access to where you are, because you have been equipped with some great things. Mm-hmm. I hear so many stories. I actually went to the family reunion on my dad's side last weekend, and that was huge. And to walk in and a couple of people say, you look like your dad. And I'm over like, for real? Oh, okay. That's interesting. But that, even in a sense, is a way of me honoring him still, by showing up and, embracing to know that side of the family. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at me. I was stuck in what you were saying. I'm like, okay, I was, y'all. But I do want to, before my mother passed, I have 2 godmothers, but I want to speak on my godmother, Katrina, which I remember I was talking about earlier. I was driving in a car, that's Novella's mom. And it's been moments like where I was so afraid, like, just when I graduate from college now, who's going to be there? And I have a godmother who, she shows up. She threw me a graduation party. When I was crowned Miss Valley, she was there. I had to have surgery here, fibroid removal. I ended up having to stay overnight in the hospital. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and her and Novella were in the hospital window, curled up, one on a chair, one in the hospital window, literally sleep, just to make sure, I still have a parent, a mother figure, and I don't feel like I have to do it alone. My friends, my mom's birthday, even when I tell them don't celebrate, I'm getting flowers, edible arrangement, or a surprise dinner. They have a birthday celebration for my mom. Like, we always do something. Like, I had a friend text me today because we've been trying to take golf lessons. And I know she said, oh, what you doing next week? Maybe we can do that. But I know that's our outing for her birthday. Yeah. So by the time she sees this, I hope this ain't air. I already know what she's doing. Yeah. I'm a hip to them now. Yeah. But my friends, like, they just so much support. Even if someone just texts me and say, hey, how you doing today? And I may not be in that moment, but I think about it like that's why they're checking on me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't have to say, like, I know it's your mom's birthday. Just something, hey, sis, you good this morning? Or let's go eat brunch, or let's go to breakfast. Come on, let's do something, and I have to appreciate that. So I try to love on my people, because and one thing I know, people say, I don't need nobody. Yeah, you need people. Nobody needs nobody besides son. But you need people. And I'm not the person. I do. I need my friends. I need my family. I need everybody. But even with Maisha, I think like now we're getting older, and our relationship, and then Ravelyn is here. So when I get with y'all, that it just makes me feel good. And I feel like I got a piece of her. And I go home with Raquel and her little sister. Now she's grown and driving. And I'm like, all those things I thought, because she was not so much younger than me. So I'm like, she's a little bit closer in age. So we'll get to do those things. But now y'all older, I get to go hang out and come on, y'all, let's go. I get to do that with them now. So that's my piece of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Because we used to always talk about Maisha was going to go to Valley and be Miss Valley because Dorian was Miss Valley. And I should come to Valley. And I can't go anywhere else. I'm going to Valley.
Yes.
You can't tell me where I'm going to school. But that goes into the sources of unexpected comfort, like those friends and family and different things like that. I think I remember a couple of things that helped me cope as far as sources is when Maisha died, my whole class wrote me a letter. Yeah, because I told you we found out at school and it was a really big thing with me and Kia. Like they had to come and get us out the cafeteria. And it was just a scene that I hated that we had to experience being in front of so many people. But they showed up as a support system and they were there and wrote me a whole letter. And then when my grandmother passed, shout out to class of 2013, they all came to the funeral and sat on the first row of the other side of the church. And like they were there with me the whole day. But I remember something that was significant I was telling my class when we were younger about your class. One Memorial Weekend. So in Shelby, Memorial Weekend is our holiday. It's a national treasure.
It is.
We be, and we have these class wars where the class be beefing, but it's fun, love. It's not like we want to kill each other like that, but it's fun. And so it's competitive, and it's who's gonna get the best shirts and have the best floats and stuff like that. And 13 is on their tail, might I add. Yeah, we on the up and up. We coming.
Right.
But I remember 01 did the flow and y'all went by each one of y'all classmates who passed house and serenaded their families.
Don't y'all do that every year?
We do it. That's an annual tradition for our class to honor the classmates that have transitioned with something. One year, if it was socks, and something as simple as some BSH 2001 socks were very like, hey, you all did not forget about us. And to receive the notes, even now in this setting from you just says, hey, keep honoring your people.
I remember telling my classmates like this, like we play and we talk about them being old and stuff like that, but that's the type of connectivity that we want to keep, because that's what makes us strong by being from a small town and having such a small class. Everybody talks about, oh, Shelby, y'all got 30, 40, 50 people in your class, but we all know each other. We all grew up together, and, witnessing y'all as like our old heads in a sense, like remember to do stuff like that. Not old in the bad way, but y'all older than us. And witnessing y'all do that, I remember telling my class, like, we got to keep, watching and doing stuff like that, because to me, that was just so special. And taking that time out to say we're not going to forget. And of course, we always going back and forth with 03. That's just, they are 10 years. Yeah, they tried. They are a 10-year predecessor. We give them deference because they're 10 years older than us. I have D and 2 aunts in this class, so I have no other choice but to give them deference. But they know we be eating them up some years. We be eating them up some years. But seeing how y'all get together, and we're always reminded, and I think that what's special to us is every year when we do a big event, they do a big event, because our 10 is their 15. Our 15 is their 20. So we always on the up and up sharing. This is some stuff. We don't tell everything, but like sharing some stuff and just remembering how we're connected. And I think that's a source of helping us get through some of the things that we experience as a small community, because we get to be with those people who really know us, and we grew up with these people and they know our parents know their parents, and being able to be there. And then I think when we went and stayed the weekend with your mom, how your mom welcomed us and like had everything lined out. That's why you a problem right now. First of all, because as soon as we got into town, she already had, I got this for y'all and that for y'all and what y'all want to eat and we gonna do this. But then being with your family and just seeing how everybody just huddles together. Your mama let us turn the house into a club and she ain't come out and bother us. And it's just, those for me, I look at it as strong sources of unexpected comfort that you can look at as positive memories to get you through those losses. And you could smile a little bit about that. And so really quick, a favorite memory of people that you've lost. You shared one about Shonda. I loved Shonda's smile. Can I highlight that? Like, she just lit up a room when she smiled. I used to love to see her just come through with them cheeks just smiling. Like,
Yes.
girl, I love how you smile. But a quick memory of your people.
My dad just my enabler. Like he did everything with love. Like of course he disciplined me as well. But I mean everything came with a price. But again, he was like my enabler. The answer was never no. My first everything. My first car at the age of 15. All the way up to I totaled like a couple cars too. And he'll yell for like a month and then boom, I'm back again. So his gift giving, his love, his support. My daddy made it all happen.
I think like fond memories with Maisha, because I was older. I used to like to call her in the room and make her dance. And I know that was so embarrassing, but because I asked her, she would still do it. I used to love to see her do it. With my mom, it would probably be like anytime, like when I was a cheerleader, you know, she's on the Booster Club band, the Booster Club. Oh no, fun memory of her when I joined church. My grandmother was in the choir, my mom was in the choir, and my aunt Dora May, who I was named after her name was Dorham Dory, was in the choir. So when I joined church at Morningstar, they always ask, you know, like, what ministry you want to join? Like, you want to be on junior usher board, and I'm gonna get in the choir because my family's quiet. My mom literally stood up in the choir stand and said, "No, she can't carry a tune. I have to be a junior usher in the church." I'm like, really embarrassed me. She told them, "No, she can't get in the choir."
If your mama,
but I really love to sing.
She was gonna tell the truth.
Yeah, she stood up in church. She said, "No, she can't get in the choir." Just like that. And I was never in the choir. Me and LaDonna, I think Shay and a couple other people, we were junior ushers. Joni, the twins.
I remember.
Yeah. We had to be junior ushers. Shonda, yeah.
That is hilarious. I have countless memories. I have a memory like an elephant. That's what most of my friends tell me. They're like, Vika, you remember specific details.
Everything.
Yes, that's me. So one memory I'm going to say, because I don't think I've spoken enough of my grandmother, but just yesterday it hit me. I was texting with someone and I said something about a bus, and I literally went back to riding the school bus, sitting beside her because she drove the school bus as one of her gigs when I was a little girl. So sitting beside her, like, actually working beside her because she was at work and working in her rental houses with her. I had to paint and put up wallpaper and do different things like that. I was very active as a child because I had to roll with my grandmother. My mother was working. So those are the happy moments that I hear. And I actually think about one of our last rides. I have gone home. Dorian, what's crazy is I don't know what year this was, but we went home for something. I want to say I rode home with you and DRC, and y'all dropped me off. And it was a surprise to my grandmother that I was there. But her response to me coming took me over the top, to the point where I was like, Grandma really happy. She said, do me a favor. Start coming home and checking on me a little bit more. I said, oh, say less. That's no problem. I got that. And so that's what I ensured that I did from that year on. And for maybe about...
Your mama was outside that day. I don't know why we went home, but I remember. I don't know why your mama was outside. But she, almost like she knew we was pulling up. I don't know how I remember.
Yeah. So that ride, that particular day, we took a ride around Shelby. Now, this is the crazy part. My grandmother never let anyone really drove her places. But that day she told me, I want you to drive. I was like, what the heck is going on? What just happened? Grandma want me to drive? And so she said, back out the driveway. Go down there by Hank's funeral home. Well, we know it's not Hank's funeral home, but if you're from Shelby, it's Hank's funeral home. Right. So she was like, go down there by Hank's funeral home. And we literally made points, and she pointed out, hey, I own that right there. That right there. That right there. She was giving me a blueprint. And she said, hey, let me tell you what you do. Whenever you get a piece of money, make sure the first thing you buy is a piece of land.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And she's like, because they're not making any more of that. Grandma gave me the blueprint before podcasts came out, reels, and people telling. Grandma gave me the straight blueprint. She told me exactly what to do. So, first time I got a lump sum of money, I bought a piece of land. So that one is like the happy moment. So thanks for letting me ride home with y'all that time, because grandmama get like I tell that story to a lot of people, and I'm grateful for that moment because, as I stated, she was seasoned and her health and memory declined significantly after that conversation. And I'm like, I'm glad I got that. I'm so glad I got that. Yeah.
With my sister, she used to have this thing where she would get up in the middle of the night and she would just snack. And so one night, I'm stupid. My dad tells us, don't F with this Kool-Aid. Don't F with it, because he know we used to go in there and eat it. Don't F with the Kool-Aid. Maisha came to stay the weekend with us. She had pickles, and we used to take the Kool-Aid and put it on the pickle and eat it. So Maisha tells me, and I'm slow, go get one peck. He's not gonna miss it, and we're gonna put it on these pickles. And by the time he get up in the morning, it ain't gonna be on our mouth. I don't know if the spirit made him rise, but some kind of way we in there. I'm talking about we munching down. He gets up, and we got Kool-Aid on our hands, on our mouth. I look, oh, she gone, and it's me in there. And he goes in on me. And when he went in there and laid down, we fought. She whooped me. She did. She whooped me. But we fought because you left me hanging. You made a fool out of me to go in here and do this. And then you hear him come before I recognize it. And you get me in trouble. But that's just how I was. I would do anything my sister told me to do. You would tell her to do stuff. I would do whatever she said. And remember, she used to steal your purses and have them on the weekend. She stayed with a different purse. And it was Dorian's purse. She always said that.
So and it was kind of like, it was karma. I used to tear novella up.
Take them. And then for my grandma, I will never forget, I was learning how to drive. Shout out to my Uncle Boomer. He knows this story. I was learning how to drive. I went down to take the permit test. I failed 5 times. Ooh. Yep, I failed 5 times. I was just so eager to drive. I didn't want to do no studying. And my grandma looked at me and she said, hey, baby, I know you smart. I know you smart. So I know you're not going to come down here and let your Uncle Boomer pass the test on the first try. And it done took you 6 times. If you don't get in there and get a book, I'm going to break your neck. And so I went home. We went through the book together. And she taught me, how to go through and learn all the stuff because she would take me to drive because she had the nerves. And I ended up passing the test. She died that December. I passed the driving test, I think that January, after she had passed away. And I think the last time I had took it was like October, November. So I always remember her pushing me to be a little bit smarter. Uncle Boomer, you are smart if you watching this, though. She wasn't saying you weren't smart. She was just saying, if you can do it, I should be able to do it. That's all. That's all she was saying. He knows this story, though. I've shared it a couple times. So as we get ready to kind of wind down, I want to know, what is something you could share with people to help them better understand grief and kind of how people go through the process of it?
I think sometimes you have to know that it's okay to not be okay. Because when something happens, we kind of be in a rush to feel normal again. And it's important to go through crying and you have to look through photo albums. It's important to do that. And I know because sometimes when I've tried, I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. But I know I think it would help you a lot more, and get you through those stages a bit faster and in a healthier state. I also think it's okay to accept help from other people. If someone asks you, like, you're okay, you need to talk to me. We always quick to say, oh, I'm good, I got it, or no. But yes, I do need to talk. Or I may just not want to talk about that, but I need to sit here. or just let's go. You know, it's okay to accept that help from people, however, you know, it comes. But I think we want to appear strong, and because we don't want to accept, like, okay, my life is different now, because your life is different. You don't want to accept it, so you just want things to be as they were, and they're not. So it's okay to say, like, I'm grieving right now, I'm hurt right now, I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm upset. I shouldn't question God, we know that, but I did, because I don't understand this. And it's okay just to be honest about how you really feel, instead of making your peers or your family or the world like, I'm okay and I got this, because I don't know anybody that lost somebody and really had it. You know, you're a different individual if you did.
You can make it look like one way.
Call me, and I do think we should go, and I'm going. But I think grief counseling is important. Actually, I have a friend that's recently lost a parent, and I've been asking her, like, have you got in there yet? Got in there? And I think I've probably been thinking about it more lately, because my brother was murdered last year. And with that, I want to add, like, though, you know, I felt guilty, because I'm like, I should have just pushed him to move here. I should have pushed him to leave Atlanta, you know, and I can't. So now I just have to work on, like, building my relationship with his children, which I do. You know, I have a good relationship with all three, but, you know, those things that you think about, sometimes we don't say and we don't do it, because you don't know when you won't have that person or that opportunity anymore. And then you'll be living with a lot of guilt and regret.
Yeah.
You know, trust me.
I say, just to piggyback off what you said, my line is, don't let death defeat you.
Yeah.
Because you will easily slip into a mindset that you think you have it all going. It looks all good on the outside, but you are literally dying yourself on the inside. And it gets to a point where anxiety, I mean, that can take you out of here. You can have a stroke at any moment just because you feel like you are making it look good, or it looks okay on the outside, and the whole time on the inside you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work. I'm reminded all the time that, hey, you don't have to be strong right now. Like, you don't ever have to be that person that you feel like you have to be because of, like, what it looks like on the outside. So my advice is, again, don't let death defeat you. Do the work. Put in the work. Get therapy. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Like, just do what it takes to keep your mental and your wellness where you're not the next person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Those are great points. For me, as I stated previously, honoring those who have transitioned and actually accepting that it's okay that life is different. It's supposed to be different. This person is no longer with you. Why would you expect to be the same? Like, be okay with it. No, I don't feel the same. No, I don't look the same. Why would you?
You're not.
You're not. You're not. And in that, honor them in whatever way it is. If it's drinking a Pepsi or hey, just being happy that you didn't learn certain things and that you were enabled. Like, that's a blessing within itself. Be okay with that. Yeah. It shouldn't be a dishonor or a degrade to say, hey, I had a parent who was heavily active and protected me from things. I'm grateful for that. That way you should be okay with knowing that I wasn't supposed to experience that. I don't want to experience that. So, yeah, continue to honor your people in whatever way it is.
Can we just talk about how much you flow and sway, and it's just so good.
So much charisma.
Yeah, it's just
Really?
so good.
Such a lady.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you.
That's
I didn't
Miss
know.
Ruby Patton granddaughter.
Yeah, Rubinstein Perry Patton from
Hello?
Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Yes.
Miss Vivian Patton Taylor
Yeah, Miss
daughter. My
Vivian
heart.
Patton Taylor. Yes.
I love her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She loves you as well.
I know she does.
She
I know
knows
she
who I'm
does.
with right now.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
I know she
Yeah, you used
does.
to wash a car for her when in high school.
Sure
Which
did,
one of the
sure
actors
did.
was it?
And when she came down to Cleveland High, because I already didn't want to be down there with them people. And when she came down there to Cleveland High, was in that classroom, I'd fight anybody if they didn't do what she say. But everybody down there loved her though, because she was so kind to us to just let us listen to our music and have our phone stuff. But I told them she's from Shelby, and I will get suspended for you playing with her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But for
Thank
me, I would say understand that it is okay to give the people you love space. That when they're grieving, it is okay to take a step back and not make it feel as though it has to always be about you and what you feel, especially if the grief is their own. You have to understand that sometimes as people go through processes, and I've learned this, that there will need to be moments where they will need to be in solidarity as individuals and by themselves. And the best thing that you can offer someone who is going through grief, especially if it's fresh or constant, is the opportunity for them to know that you are there in community with them, but you will also take a step back if needed to allow them to get themselves together. Oftentimes when we're in connection with somebody, if we feel as though they're detaching or stepping away, we take it personally, but you can't do that all the time. Especially when I don't know how to process what I feel. I can't always communicate to you what I feel because I don't know what I feel. So I want you to know that it is okay to understand that you can play cast B and step back and give somebody some time to really process what they're going through while reminding and reassuring them that you are their community and support. And so as we get ready to close, I want each of you to take a quick 60 seconds and talk into that camera and just encourage somebody who may be going through the early stages of grief or they're preparing to lose a loved one. If that call has been made, what is it that you want to share with them as we get ready to wrap on today?
I think I would say have courage. Don't run away from it because you can run, but you can't hide. Everything eventually catches up to you. So especially for those, if you've received a call or you know that that time is coming, go ahead and try to prepare yourself. And you can't really say you can prepare your mental or your emotions, but there are business or things and affairs that need to be handled. Do that. If it's conversations you need to have with your children, any of your other loved ones, do that. Because when that time comes, you want things to be smooth. You want things to be as peaceful and comfortable as they can be. And if you have recently experienced a loss and it was unexpected, don't be like me. Go and find you a grief counselor. I know it may not want to do it the next week or the next month, but I wouldn't say go 6 months without it. But if you need that time, take that time, But I do think that that's important because sometimes we can talk to our friends and our family, but we all know you might be more open and honest with a total stranger. And these are people, they're trained for this, their job. So, and always, you have to lean on God because we can't do anything without him, because if I didn't have faith and I didn't have him, I would probably be insane. So I always say I'm still here and I'm sane and healthy and thriving because of him first.
Yep.
Yeah, look left, right, and left.
My first thing is gonna be pray about it. All of mine were unexpected, so giving the advice of how to prepare yourself or how to even know where to go next or what steps to take for planning a funeral. I don't know, give yourself grace. Pray. Give yourself grace. Give everyone around you grace. I know it's a frustrating time with family dealing with death, and it can cause a lot more than what you even expect it to be. But with grace, with prayer, with support, and with love, you'll get through it. You'll get through it.
Yeah. So if you are experiencing grief or preparing yourself for grief, I suggest that you be active and not busy like Dorian. But if you're preparing for someone to transition and they are significant in your life, don't shy away from those final moments. Actually spend time with them, care for them, because when they transition, you'll be able to hear them a little bit clearer. I guarantee you that. I'm able to hear messages directly from my grandmother a few weeks ago. No exaggeration. I got a piece of glass in my finger, and the glass was in there for over a day. I kept picking with it, and I was like, I need to get this glass out. How am I going to get this glass out? And I actually got silent for a moment. And my grandmother spoke to me clear as day and said, baby, go in there and get you a needle and burn the tip end of it and pick that glass on out your finger. And I said, well, thank you. And it worked. Literally 2 minutes later, the glass was out of my finger and I was good. But being able to have that relationship with her and being present before she transitioned, even though when she transitioned, it was unexpected. I know my grief process was not as great as it could have been if I wasn't present. So being active in her life and being active in your loved one's life, make sure you do that. It's that way you can honor them in memory and thought as you release to heal. Yeah.
And I would just say to give yourself grace and to continuously seek towards the love you deserve and the love that you were left with. Just because they're not here physically does not mean that you do not carry their spirit with you. And that as you move towards trying to find peace, become rooted in whatever your faith is or whatever the thing is that gives you comfort. I find comfort in knowing where my sister and my grandma is. I am not worried about that at all. The thing that I admire the most is my mama told us, because she saved and sanctified and filled with the Lord. It's when she loved the Lord. My mama told us when she sat us down as we prepared for my sister, I ain't leave that hospital without praying with y'all sister. So you ain't got to worry about that. So I thank God that my mom was able to do that. I thank God that my dad and Isha, my sister's mom, who is extremely strong to have lost a child and still been there for everybody. I thank God that they were on one accord. I thank God that Isha and my mom built a relationship where my mom could have a relationship with my sister to do that. And be able to be there by her side in her transition. And then my grandma, prayer war. I pray because she prayed. So I'm not worried about that at all. And I get that in my faith. But whatever your faith may be, whatever the thing is that gives you the ability to have whatever peace you have, lean into that as you move forward and you try to find that oasis of love, joy, and comfort that you are looking for. Remember that in some way, shape, fashion, or form, you are not alone, whether it is the physicality of another human or the spirit of those who have transitioned and gone on. Somebody, some way, somehow is there with you. And the Bible tells us to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord. Amen. And so I want to thank you for tuning in to this very sacred and special episode. I want to thank my guests for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all for being strong enough to share your story. Thank you all for the love that all of you have given me in all of the stages of my life, from being a little boy to being a friend to me as an adult. And I appreciate you for coming on my platform and being here.
Anytime.
All right, guys. All right. Yes. So as you all can see, today conversation wasn't as heavy as we thought it would be. It was like heavy, but it was still good. And so grief is a journey. It's a process. It's something that we don't choose to lean into all the time. We're kind of thrown into it. But it's something that we learn to go along with as the days go by. I want you to remember that you are loved and you are cared for. And that regardless of whatever you're experiencing or however much your heart may be broken, that there is not a single thing that you cannot come back from. And as long as you are here, remember that you must be here. For those of you who are thinking about not being because your heart is so broken, for as long as you are here, you have the ability and the opportunity to honor those who you love by standing strong in the solidarity that they have given you. I want you to remember to shop 80 West Candles, as this episode was sponsored by them. And I will see y'all soon on the next episode of the Relentlessly Becoming Podcast. Thank you for sharing space with me again. Peace.